Now, this is a very sad and interesting story, but I have to be honest with you, I would have never known about it had it not been for one of my YouTube subscribers. And since I don't have their permission to thank them in person, I'm just going to say it's private in this video. Thank you for bringing this story to my attention. I did some research on it, I got intrigued, and sure enough I found out that this is quite a sad story. This is the grave of Stephanie A. Boller, a 5-year-old little girl who was murdered here in Beaver County. As the story goes, around January of 1977, 5-year-old Stephanie left her home and she walked up to 12th Avenue in Beaver Falls, that's where she lived, to go play with a friend of hers. It turns out that she was turned away by the mother of the house because there were children inside that were sick. She peered out of her window after she closed the door and saw little Stephanie trudging in 8 inches of snow at the time. That was the last time anybody ever seen little Stephanie Boller alive. The story gets really sad. Because of a misunderstanding with her parents, each thought that the other knew where Stephanie was. As a consequence of that, nobody filed a missing child's report until several hours after little Stephanie had disappeared. Now, I'm showing you this grave because before I get into the rest of the story, what's intriguing about this whole story is this grave itself. I don't know if Stephanie's related to these people or if these are her distant family relatives or what. I'm not really certain what's going on with this, but evidently this is her final resting place, and I don't know why nobody, has come to get flowers here or anything. Nothing's been done to this grave. It's really sad and strange. I don't know if her parents still visited or what. It's really, really sad. But anyways, getting back to the story, once they reported her missing, then police and hundreds of volunteers, of course, went to go look for this little girl, and nobody could find her. And to move this story fast forward, about, I don't know, maybe 6 or 7 months later, 2 gentlemen were looking for cans at Brady's Run Park when they stumbled upon skeletal remains which looked like that of a small child. They reported it to the authorities. The authorities came to examine it, and of course the bones and the remains were identified as little Stephanie Boller. The little girl who had been missing since January was found. Her remains were found probably around, I don't know, I think it was October or November of 1977. After that, police decided to conduct a thorough investigation. They interviewed all kinds of people, including her family. They administered polygraphs, and for some unknown reasons known or unknown, the polygraphs were either inconclusive or they all passed, but the police never specified as to why. I don't know. That's what I researched. I don't know if it's true. Now, before I continue with this, because I got to tell you another story that's related, I'm not a law enforcement officer. I'm not castigating the police departments who were involved in this case. I am not a forensics expert, okay? I'm not a criminologist. I'm not a detective. I'm just a guy that makes videos and writes books. You know that, for especially you guys who've been watching my stuff for a long time. I'm just relating this information because this little girl's case is unsolved, and I want to see the killer brought to justice. Now, here's something that's really interesting about this case. I don't want to point suspicions at people, and I don't want to be, a person who's in charge of coincidences all the time. But something else happens here. Here's where it gets really, really spooky. There was no evidence to prove or disprove anything, and it just so happens that the case, for some reason, for whatever reasons, became closed. We don't know why, we don't know what happened, but as I can understand it, it's just something that's, kind of strange. So I don't know, what could have happened in terms of, somebody's walking up on me here, I don't know what's going on. Well, anyway, That's why I'm rambling. I'm sorry, forgive my speech. Every time I make a video, this happens, so I don't know why, but it's just the way it goes sometimes. So anyways, about 3 weeks after the discovery of Stephanie Boller, something happens in Wilkinsburg. It turns out that another 5-year-old girl is reported missing. She is seen getting in a car with somebody, according to one witness, and she's never seen again. It's the same story. Several months later, her body is placed in the woods. It is found by somebody walking, and they exhume the remains, and they find out that it is the identification of a girl named Beth Barr. So she's about roughly the same age as Stephanie. She disappears under the very same circumstances. I'm not saying it's related, but it's one heck of a coincidence. Her death remains unsolved too. What's intriguing about these two stories is really simple to me, okay? What I see here is you've got two 5-year-old children who are walking in 8 inches of snow by themselves. For some reason, they either have permission or they didn't have permission, and nobody says a word about it. Nobody says a thing about it. And what's even more intriguing is after all these years have passed with both of these little girls missing for so long, there's not a Facebook page about these girls. There's no missing persons report. There's no websites. Nothing has been done to bring any of these killers or one killer to justice. It's just a really spooky coincidence that these two girls disappeared roughly under the same circumstances. The only difference being one was Beaver Falls, Pennsylvania, and one was Wilkinsburg, Pennsylvania. They're only about 50 miles apart. Again, I'm not saying this is a coincidence, but boy, it's really hard not to make a connection. You know what I mean? So you're looking at this poor little girl's grave here, this poor little angel, that her killer is still out there. And nobody was ever charged, nobody was ever brought to justice. It remains unsolved. This is one of the saddest cases of Beaver County. And again, it really intrigues me that this stone, like, it's a very old stone. I don't know who this family is. If you guys know, leave a comment below the video. But I don't know, again, if Stephanie was related to these people, if these were distant relatives of hers or what. I don't know. I don't know the story behind it. I don't know if her parents are still alive. I don't know if they still reside here in Beaver County. Even if I do, I don't want to get into that. It's ancillary to the video. I'm just presenting you some facts that I know about this little girl, and it's really haunting. It's terrible that nobody has ever been brought to justice. It seems like the case is closed, and I'm just doing this video because I want to raise awareness about something that is so tragic in this town that everybody seems to have forgotten. Now, there are a couple of Facebook pages on there that are cold case files from Beaver County, but I mean, there's not a Facebook page specifically dedicated to this little angel. And I think it's just really sad. It's really sad. It's a spooky, haunted story, and it's unsolved. You know, it's really creepy. It's one of, Beaver County has a few unsolved cases, but come on, folks, look at this little girl. She never had a chance to live. She never had a chance to be an adult. She never had a chance to go to school. She never had a chance to get married. She never had a chance to go to college. She never had a chance to, have children. Just think about it, So anyways, let me know what you think. I want you to leave comments below. And if you like videos like this, you want me to do more about this, because I've been doing a lot of research. Thank you to the anonymous viewer. I'm not going to mention your name. Thank you for bringing this case to my attention, because it's really intriguing, and I really thank you for it. If you guys know any more information about this, or you think you might know something, I'd love to hear from you, okay? Like this video, follow, subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Over and out.